Good evening, everyone. See a lot of familiar faces. Gladdens my heart. I'm actually a little under the weather. Probably should have signed off this evening, but too soon to get a substitute. But now that I see you, I'm very happy to be here, and we'll have a good time anyway. I just thought I'd let you know I'm partly without a good voice, but it's really good to see you. We're covering, I see we have Canada and Texas, and maybe we should just say hello to each other. For those who are willing to put on their cameras and say hello, feel free to say where you're calling in from. Just let yourself hear and enjoy the sound of each other's voices and places, and feel like we're being enveloped in a wider field of Dharma, of people who care about the world, care about awakening. So feel free to, whoever wants to unmute and say hello, please feel free.
Hi,
Hello,
I'm Nancy from
Arizona.
Petaluma.
Somebody said Petaluma, but is that Nancy? There
Nancy.
you are. Nancy,
Hi,
couldn't
San
be better
Rafael.
to see you.
San Rafael.
Thank you.
Who
Hi,
was that?
everybody.
Rafael?
Liz.
San Francisco.
Right. Hey, Mark.
Mary from Santa Barbara.
Hey, Mary.
Hello, Michael from Edmonton.
Hello, Michael. Always great to see you.
Hi, Lisa from Texas.
Hello. Oh, they've got a couple Lisas from Texas,
Hi, Lisa from Texas, but in Missouri.
but in Missouri, right?
Gladys
Yeah.
from Regina.
Was that who was from Regina?
Gladys,
Gladys, good to see you.
thank
I'm
you.
using a smaller computer tonight, so everybody's a little button.
Yeah, I think you missed me, Liz from San Rafael. We could end early, Howie, if you don't feel well, you know?
That's very thoughtful of you, but I may get rolling and we may
Okay, you probably will.
go overtime tonight. You never know.
Okay.
Hi,
John from Berkeley.
Hey, John, good to see you.
Shelley from Arizona.
Hello, where's Shelley? Let's see. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Good to see you.
Howard G. from San Francisco.
Howie G, thank you for co-hosting tonight. I didn't even see you up there. Thank you, as always. Double Howie. Okay,
Hi, everybody. I'm Eve from San Francisco.
welcome. Sush, make
Oh,
Max.
no, I'm Eve. Sorry, that's my wife's name on there. I just didn't fix it.
That's okay. Hi, Eve. Anyway, it warms my heart to hear your voices and where you're calling in from. And now we all come together to this one place, to this single point in ourselves. The Buddha called that ekagata, one pointed, right where life touches us, at that single point. And that the deeper meaning of the word ekagata, one pointed, is the one point that includes everything. So the more we gather and sustain our attention in the single point of here and now, come home to ourselves, regardless of what's happening in the world. There may not be peace in the world, but we can, at least in moments, make a peace offering and be at peace with the world if we come to that single point and hold the whole world in our hearts with clarity, with love, the two faces of our consciousness. So the Buddha offered the simple, direct teachings of just starting with the beginning, middle, and end is putting our mind in the same place as our body. There's one thing, O monks, he said, that leads to calm, to focus, to a pleasant dwelling in this very life, to the abandonment of the causes of stress, the fetters, to the heart's release. What's that one thing? It's mindfulness directed to the body. That's through our body that we enter into that, or recover that single point that we've never really left, but we've only imagined that we did. And living so in such a chronic way in our imagination, we overlook the natural peace and ease that is the peace and ease of our nature. And we try to empty our mind of its usual preoccupations and recover what's always already here. I think just because I thought I said that just now, I wanted to share as a start to our practice passage from Thich Nhat Hanh that someone passed on to me, where Thich Nhat Hanh said, "I laugh when I think how I once sought paradise as a realm outside of the world of birth. It's right in the world of birth and death that the miraculous truth is revealed. But this is not the laughter of someone who suddenly acquires a great fortune. Neither is it the laughter of one who has won a victory. It is rather the laughter of one who, after having painfully searched for something for a long time, finds it one morning in the pocket of his coat." So that's the whole story of the Buddha's teaching, is the open secret that whatever it is that we are searching for is in the pocket of our coat. And not really even in the pocket, it's in you as you. So let's close our eyes, use this body with its senses. This is where the Buddha said we find the world. Within this fathom-long body lies the world, lies the cause of the world, lies the end of the world of our imagination, lies the path leading to the end of the world of stress and suffering. So, letting your body light up your mind, and your mind light up your body. Feel those points of sensations that flicker like stars in the evening sky. And just let those sensations keep calling you here. Let those sensations remind you that you are resting in the ultimate fact that you are aware here. And just enjoy the way your body has just fallen into a gentle stillness without any strain or struggle or even trying. Just let it be. And then notice and enjoy your body's experience of its own breathing. You may feel that experience of breathing as the air passes the nostrils or upper lip. A little flaring, a little change of temperature. You may feel the chest or the belly rise and fall, or the whole body expanding and contracting, however it is that you become aware of this experience of breathing. And let the waves of the breath just guide you to a calm abiding, guide you to that single point. Whether it's a short breath or long or rough or smooth, deep or shallow, just let your body breathe and enjoy the experience. It has a byproduct of quieting, of emptying. Not because we quiet or empty our mind, but because they quiet by themselves when we're more oriented toward the felt experience of sitting and breathing. Just this moment, just this body, just this breath. If you're here long enough, many other sensations will light up in your mind, and the light of awareness will reveal a whole field of sensations, aching and burning and stabbing and itching. We welcome them all and let every experience, pleasant and unpleasant, remind us of our love of being right here. Moods will come, internal weather, same welcoming, reminding us of our love of being alive and feeling. And yet developing the confidence that we can feel the whole range of internal weather. And that we can stay here. And even when thoughts and images arise, we just notice them, welcome them like clouds floating through a windy sky. They're really no more reality than that. But the key is to maintain this continuity of noticing to the extent possible. Just this moment, just this breath, just whatever it is that comes. And goes and reappears. Everything welcome. When you realize you've been daydreaming, this is a sign of mindfulness, rising, coming back online. Time to consciously return to that single point, our body, breath, this moment, orienting ourselves to the only reality. Everything else is imaginary. Very gentle, kind, and interested attention. Welcoming things just as they are. Resting in that state of being aware, embodied. Know that there's nothing to do or to undo or fix, or figure out. Just be aware. That's mindfulness, has no agenda. Just this moment. Notice if you're trying to make something happen. This is greed in the mind, grasping. Just notice what happens when you notice that. Notice what happens if you notice that there's some resistance in your mind. You notice it. What happens? Notice what happens when you become mindful of personalizing your experience, telling a story. See what happens when there's seeing of those thoughts. Awareness is self-correcting. Just be aware. See what happens. True joy to sit with you. It's the first time I've led a Tuesday, and it felt no different than the retreat that I just led on the weekend, that was in person with birds singing and nature and clouds and the beautiful immediacy of being in person. But there was nothing any less about sitting online with you tonight. It just felt equally privileged to be able to do this, and to be able to both to be held by the so many of us sitting together with that similar intention. And at least I don't know if you took it to heart, that consideration of making this a peace offering. But felt like it to me, like we were doing something good, what the Buddha called meritorious, good for us, good for the world. Maybe not the most immediate and obvious impact on all the enormous suffering, but planting our own seed of relinquishing the causes of war in our hearts. You know, I want to just riff for a second. One of the things that studying a little bit the Buddha's teachings, this struck me the night of his awakening. There was some reflection where he said, it is not just unknowable, but inconceivable, the beginning of samsara, the beginning of this cycle of endless wandering, of endlessly going, looking, waiting, wanting, trying to reach somewhere, and for eons not realizing that the peace and ease is in our pockets, in the very nature of our hearts. But the world is still, if we just get involved all the time in the dramas of the world, we just stay part of that endless samsara. And so it is a kind of radical social action to do what the Buddha did. Never exclude caring for who needs to be cared for, and stop it, whenever we can stop war or get in the way of somebody who's causing harm. Great. But instead of focusing on justice and on who's right and who's wrong and the things that just torment our minds about all the different views and opinions, said that you keep doing that, you'll just be lost in samsara. There's no end to it. But what can come to an end are the forces in our hearts that lead to that endless wandering. So he chose liberation over justice, because and he knew that it's so obvious when you see somebody else's version of justice that doesn't match yours. You see the folly of being attached to views and opinions. But we don't see it ourselves sometimes when we're caught up in that, when we see our own attachments to certain views and how things are or should be. So as soon as you take that position of supporting one cause or another, you're you're actually in some ways functioning as a menace. There's a big conversation going on in the Buddha Dharma about there being a unified statement about Israel and Gaza. And yet, if you look at what the attempts to have a unified statement from the Buddhist community, it's like groupthink. It doesn't match the multiplicity of views. And instead, what the Buddha said, focus on, of course, doing whatever you can do to stop harm, but focus on merit. Focus on cultivating generosity, kindness, attention, all the things that are both good for you and good for the world. And be careful about your notions of what's right and what's wrong. Anyway, throwing out some opinions, needless to say. But somehow I was struck by that was it with the eye of the Buddha, then during the watch of the night when his mind opened, he just saw the endlessness of searching. And then the only way out is to stop and to look within and cultivate the wholesome, that which leads to wholeness for ourselves, for the world. Actions that are kind, caring, generous, compassionate, generous. Abandon the unwholesome, what tears us apart. Attachment to views and opinions. Grasping, aversion, outrage, anger. States of mind that when fed, or even confusion, delusion of self, getting too caught in me and mine, what I want to happen. Because all of it leads to this feeling of somehow things are not right here. What's missing here now? What are we searching for? Where are we going? When we focus and fixate on the future, what do we really want? What are we really looking for? And what's really lacking here when we actually stop and feel? So the Buddha was all about liberating our hearts, and what more radical social action could there be to making ourselves into non-harming, peaceful people, not deluded people. I don't mean pretending that there's not horrible things in this world, but letting our hearts break instead of getting caught in our reactivity and our views. Doesn't mean we don't share our views and have opinions, but something more important is liberation. Now, how did I get on that topic? This is the sign of being a little under the weather. Anyway, I think I'm done with my little initial riff. I'd love to hear from you. Any comments, questions about your practice tonight, preferably not too theoretical. Descriptions of what you noticed, anything you'd like me to talk about, I'm happy to, for as long as I can. And we'll use the raised hand function, which is in the reactions world. If anybody who's wants to speak, break the ice, ask a question. Hmm. Quiet reminds me of, I'll be right with you, Mary. Thank you for breaking the ice, but I used to sit with a Thai forest master named Ajahn Jumnian, who would just sit quietly with people, and then if somebody asked a question, great, he got to share the Dharma. If somebody didn't ask a question, he got to sit quietly. And they were equal. So hopefully you can take that to heart when it's really quiet. Enjoy that. Mary, please feel free.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm really grateful to be here tonight and thank you for being here. I just have had kind of a lot of stressful stuff going on and then a dental emergency and just
Oh,
stuff, and I just felt like my nervous system was kind of out of whack a little bit, and it just reminds me what a precious thing this is to have found in my life. I think sometimes it seems so simple and it's not, kind of fancy or something, that we forget what a treasure this is to be able to come to this when we're feeling that way and to just calm down and be peaceful. It's really a tremendous gift in life. It's truly a refuge. So I'm starting to feel better, and I
great.
thank you
Glad.
so much for being here, and
Thank you.
I hope it won't be too stressful on your health. Thank you for your
Throat lozenge.
there you go. And also, I think people are generally kind of stressed out. The world
Yeah.
is pretty stressful these days too, and we try and kind of limit it. But
Yeah.
that's also difficulty. So
Yeah, it's a
thank you everyone for being here, especially
thank you.
you my teacher. Thank you.
Thank you. Somehow you reminded me of because I read from Thich Nhat Hanh before, you reminded me of this way he talked about if one person on the boats was peaceful, could in that totally stressful environment, the likelihood that boat would survive the rough seas was enhanced enormously. And so just each one of us that takes a little time out of our stream of challenges, your mouth and your teeth and the world, and it's a gift, just like you said.
Yes, I'm very grateful that my path has taken me on this journey here, to find such a wonderful gift and refuge. I kind of look back on, my family, and I think my dad mm, would be stressed out a lot by his work and things, and
Mm,
was maybe by nature really a more sensitive person. I don't know, or sensitive to those things. And I remember in those days, like people would take, I forget what it was called, but it was like some kind of pill, it was like, I don't know, it was like Xanax or something today.
tranquilizers,
Yeah,
they
some
used to
kind of
call them.
tranquilizer, And I think sometimes I'm so grateful that I can just meditate when I feel
Yeah,
out of
you have
sorts. They didn't have that sort of knowledge or that kind of option
yeah,
then,
yes, we have an inner tranquilizer and we need them.
Yeah, yes, we do.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Hallie.
Mark, please feel free.
Thank you, Howie. And thank you all for being here. It's nice to look at you. Um, Now, what was I going to talk about? Anger.
Mm,
I've tried to work with this and I don't know what to do. Often, if I bump myself or stub my toe or spill something or something like that, mostly if I bump myself, anger comes up like right now. And it's kind of like you put your hand on a hot stove or something. You don't have to think about how to work with it. you just work with it. Your hand comes off and you're hot. And it's hot. You might shout ow or something. Well, that seems to be what happens to me. I don't shout ow, but I have some favorite expletives that I use. And I do shout. I've, few people don't like me. Well, actually, one person just doesn't like me doing that. But so I've tried to work with it. Okay, I don't know what to do because it's like putting your hand on a hot stove. It's not, it happens before I have a chance to put any distance.
You know, the kind of reaction to stubbing the toe or to a hand on a hot stove, I think it's just in our nature to have a little shock and to discharge something. I think that there may be a moment where that discharge happens, which I don't know how much one can do about it. But it's what happens next is if it gets embellished, if it hardens into a kind of mood, rather than just a momentary discharge. That with that kind of thing, it just doesn't seem so
Well,
problematic.
thank you for that because hardening into a mood, I'm trying to think whether I do notice that sometimes I'm just angry, and I don't think that's good. But that I think I can work with a little better than the than the instantaneous reaction. And but thank you. I think that's
I
important.
can't help you because I have my own expletives that come up in moments like that. It's just seems so natural. And that, just to try to sit with it for a moment. I think that the only way that anger seems to ease a little bit is if we actually study it, feel it, not just act it out and build a case, just stay in the story of it. It's to actually feel the poisonness of it. So if you could just at whatever moment at whatever point in that cycle of reactivity to that your hand on the stove or whatever it is that happened, you could just notice, oh, this is anger. And how does it feel to feel angry? And to feel it a little bit. And to me, that not just begins, that supports us in aerating it a little bit. And in a sense, if we notice how painful it is to feel that, I think it was a Native American thing, it's a punishment we give ourselves for someone else's actions, or when we really feel the pain of it, that itself becomes a cause and condition for some self-compassion or anyway. So something about studying the feeling, not just asking why I'm angry. The Buddha, did say that we get angry for two main reasons. Wounded pride, and our sense of strength gets diminished in that moment that we stumble or we feel klutzy or whatever it is that we do. So some sense of being all together gets instantaneously diminished, and we defend it by being mad sometimes, or wounded pride, or frustrated desire.
I've really looked at the thwarted desire and wounded pride, and it's right on, especially when I get angry at someone else, which is a different type of anger. That's not putting your hand on a hot stove. That's not liking something that somebody did or said. But wounded pride and thwarted desire it's always one of those. I've looked at that. I've checked that.
Okay, so that's the more analysis of it, but really I think what cuts through more than anything is feeling it.
Is what?
Feeling it, turning toward the felt sense.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Feeling the poison of it.
Okay, yeah.
But don't take my idea that it's poison, but it is. It feels crummy.
Oh, I understand how it is. It's sort of an intellectual understanding, but I understand it. Of course it's a poison. It hurts you and it can hurt other people. It's poison. Yeah. Thank you, Howie.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else before we shift gears? Don't hesitate if you like. Mary again?
Well, say something in return about that, because it's something I've kind of looked into. Maybe I don't know why, but I noticed for me, if like somebody does something stupid or dangerous to me driving or something like that, which I've mentioned before, but if I really pay attention to my body at that moment when I get angry,
Exactly.
just like what I'm not intellectually, really
That's
physically,
right. Physically.
it's amazing. It's like I can feel like my blood pressure rising and everything gets tense and constricted. It really physically feels terrible. And when I feel it, then I immediately calm down because I don't want to feel that way. And I go, wait a minute, that's not worth it.
That's right.
That person being stupid, is not worth me doing this to my body, kind of thing. So I think that was very good advice that you gave. I think when you really just feel it, you feel like, I don't want to do that to myself.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share my experience.
Just since we had the double dose of feeling it, just brought, while I was able to listen to you, I also remembered that wonderful poem from Hafez called Absolutely Clear. And you can substitute any strong emotion for the original emotion that's used in the poem is loneliness. But so I'll read it, I'll say it as it's written, but you can substitute whatever feeling. It says, the poem is, don't surrender your loneliness so quickly. Let it cut more deep. Let it ferment and season you as few human or even divine ingredients can. Something missing in my heart tonight has made my voice, my heart so soft, my voice so tender, my need of the divine absolutely clear. So it's something about letting it, just as you say, and I said, cut it, let it cut more deep, let it be felt, because that's what actually tenderizes our hearts, and as you said, calms us down. We're great at thinking about feelings, we're not good at feeling them. So thank you for giving the 1-2 punch. I like the way you said it better than I did.
I don't know about that,
Not comparing though.
but I think it's kind of like almost like Pavlov's bell in reverse, too. Like once you feel that feeling and you go, oh no, wait a minute, I don't want to do that, and then you repeat that, in other times you start to kind of unlearn that reaction a little bit, or catch yourself more quickly anyway.
Well said.
Thank you both. Good night.
So it's natural to want to find skillful means to work with our difficulties, our states of mind. And the Dharma is filled with means, things that help bring us back to wholeness. And that is in a way, that's what we call the path of awakening, the path to wholeness, the path to peace. But I just want to come back a little bit to where we started tonight with the Thich Nhat Hanh passage. is to the words that were going through my mind is the wait is over, that we don't have to wait to experience the fruit of the practice, the pinnacle of the practice. Just attending to each presently arising experience, you've already arrived at the mountaintop. The wait is over. So it's one thing to have all the practice tricks, and we all use them and they're great. But at the same time, we don't want our practice tricks to reinforce the view, the thought that maybe someday I will be peaceful. Maybe someday I won't be angry. Maybe someday I will be liberated. And it seems that the reason I'm saying this is because, again, that during that second night of that second phase of the night of the Buddha's awakening, when he just saw the endlessness of searching, the endlessness of samsara, endlessness of waiting for a future that never arrives. And just to be reminded that the wait is over. You've already arrived at the superior place. Why do we feel more peaceful when we're here and feeling what's there? Because peace is our fundamental nature. When we are aware of the fragrance of being aware is peace. And so whatever it includes within our consciousness becomes pacified. And so we can think about our path being long and arduous, but the way of our path, it goes nowhere. And every retreat, I just led a retreat in Tucson, and notice there's someone from Tucson who's here, and I'm still in Tucson, just led the retreat on the weekend. But when we start the retreat, we always, as a way of creating the unique field that's created in a meditation retreat, a reminder that we're not just accumulating experiences. We're actually engaged in something that is thousands of years old. And so we're reminded of the Buddha, the historical Buddha, and that the Buddha is you now. The Buddha means awake. So there's both the immediate and the historical. And then there's the Dharma, there's the nature, the way it is, the truth, the teachings. They're here in whatever you're doing, and you use the teachings in this unfolding present moment as a support for learning how to navigate our life right where it is. The third part is this: we go to the Buddha, we go to the Sangha. This is very different than our life where we're just going toward our individual preoccupations, or going to the mall, or going here. We're going to the Buddha, we're going to the Dharma. That's what we're giving ourselves over to, the study of ourselves in real time and the sustained attention. The third thing, we go to the Sangha. And whenever most of us think of Sangha, we think of each other here. And that's the most immediate sense of Sangha. And no doubt it's an incredible refuge, as Mary said earlier in the evening. What a wonderful refuge. But traditionally, when we go to the Sangha for refuge, it referred to the Sangha of awakening. The Sangha of people like you who experienced awakening. And it's kind of a mystical thing that they literally shared the same life that you experience right now. They shared the same breath. They shared the same moment. It all converges right here. The Arya Sangha, the Sangha of Awakening, all those thousands of beings who, through their generosity and kindness, kept the river of teachings going all these years, without which we wouldn't be here. Where they lived, what they discovered was here. No different than the here that you're experiencing. And in a way, the world that they found was not so different than the one we find. The same forces, the same poisons of greed, hatred, and delusion, and the same opportunity for liberation. I don't know, I find it really cool to consider that we are occupying the same present reality. And we can connect with all the beings of the past and all the beings of the future, what shows up in future moments. They're all sharing the same timeless present. That's where awakening happens. So we don't want to concretize these things of past and future. In the future, we end up waiting for so much. We end up so with a sense of deprivation because we're depriving ourselves of that same present time freedom. So yes, happy to have all the skillful means to navigate all the things that will come, but I also don't want to postpone the liberation that's available right now. And Liz, that was for you a little bit. That's the two truths. We have a lot of work to do, and we're perfect as we are. So that's all I have for right now. So thanks for hanging in with me tonight. And I think Howie G, you want to?
Sure,
I might
sure.
help you with the announcements if there's any details on events.
Well, the one big event is the one that is coming up in July 29th. I think that's the next big one.
Well, that's the next residential retreat.
Right. If there was something posted, I wasn't made aware of it, Howie.
Well, I can announce it now. There will be an online half-day retreat on June 1st for all of you if you want to come and have a little more 4-hour sustained period of sitting and walking together. They seem to be reliably very intimate and fruitful for anybody who sits. I get a lot out of them personally, so happy to have you June 1st. And that will also be a co-branded, co-sponsored by Mission Dharma and San Francisco Insight Dharma Center, which is now all the San Francisco groups are collaborating and cross promoting our different events, and so all the other San Francisco communities will know about this, but also all the people who sit with us on Tuesday night as well.
Howie, someone just texted a question, what time does that start?
Oh, it'll be 9 to 1. Oh, West Coast time, 9 to 1 West Coast time, June 1st. And
the other thing, if we have a second, I want to remind everybody about Donna.
thank you.
It's what helps us live and breathe. It's the generosity that keeps this Sangha going. It keeps the word, it keeps the Dharma going, it keeps us going, and it is a great personal experience too. So if people have money that they can afford to donate, if you go to, I put in the chat a way to find a way to send it. There are a number of ways to do it. It's also listed in the invitation that you got today. And it keeps our Sangha and going and pays the teachers, especially our favorite one, helps him show up for these many decades. And low, I didn't mean yo, I meant low. Low these many decades. And it's a way to show appreciation and to keep things moving forward.
Thank you in advance for your generosity. Anyway, please feel free to unmute. Thank you, Howie G, and the generosity of you co-hosting. It's a big support. I like having you along, and I know everyone else does as well. And anyone who ever wants to be a volunteer that can help support our evenings, always welcome. You can contact us through our website. And anyway, thank you, and feel free to unmute and say goodnight to each other.
Thank you, Howie.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Howie. Good night, everyone.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
night, everyone.
David, I see David.
Good night.
night.
Yes.
Good night,
Great to see you.
everyone. Thank you, Howie.
Take
Feel
care.
better.
You, good
feel
night.
better.
You.
Yes, feel better. Be well.
Thank you. Great to be with you. You feel better already.
Good.
Me too.
Bye-bye.
Sweet dreams, everyone.
Sweet
I
Thanks,
love your
Stephanie.
enthusiasm.
Thank you,
Yes.
Howie.
Pleasure.
You're welcome.
Thank you.